Hey guys, so today's last and final, or one of the last lessons we're going to do in Unit 1 is being able to find percents of numbers. So the most common way you guys might be thinking of this, like in real world, is if maybe you work at a restaurant or you like to go out to eat and you have to leave a tip. These are kind of quick mental math ways. I'm going to show you guys how we can actually calculate percent. So do me a favor, just pause this video right now and actually copy down everything you see on the page in front of you. So then when you hit play and I'm going through it, you're not trying to scramble and write everything down at the same time. Okay, so pause right now and then play once you're ready. So our first example is going to be finding 1% of a number. So if anyone knows, when you guys find 1% of something, that's going to be the same as just dividing by 100. Technically, it's the same thing that you're doing when you find 1%. Now, what that actually means is when you divide something by 100, you're moving the decimal place over 2 times, okay? So if I want to find 1%, let's say of 350, my decimal place starts after the 0, I move it back 2 spots, and that would give me 3.5. So 1% of 350 is 3.5. So for these 5 examples, if you wanted to find 1%, you simply would just move your decimal place over twice. So 1% of 400 would equal 4. 1% of 72 is 0.72. 1% of 8. Now, if you move that over 2 spots, you'd have to fill in that imaginary 0 in front of the 8 there, so it'd be 0.08. 1% of 356. So again, moving my decimal place 1, 2. That give me 3.56. And then lastly, of 1,540, move your decimal place twice. That would give you 15.4. Okay, so all it really is just moving your decimal place over 2 times. Very easy for 1%. Now finding 10% of a number, same idea, you're actually going to be dividing your number by 10, okay? And all that means is you're going to move your decimal place over 1 spot, okay? So if I wanted to find 5% of my example given here, 580, I move it over 1 spot, and that would give me 58. So far, all I'm showing you guys right now is decimal movement, right? So for these 5 examples, again, moving my decimal place over once. So 10% of 640 is equal to 64. Okay, 10% of 36 is 3.6. 10% of 6 is 0.6. 10% of 720 is 72. And then 10% of 2,130 is 213. Okay, your last percent that you guys can also find by hand is finding 5%. This is where you need to be careful. Okay, what's the relationship between a 10 and a 5? Like, how do I get from a 10 to a 5? Think division, right? You just cut it in half. If I want to get from a 10% to a 5%, all you're going to do is find 10% of the number, and then whatever answer you get, chop it in half, right? Because half of 10% is 5%, okay? So what I mean by that, if I want to find 5% of 44, well, first things first, find 10%. So we know finding 10%, she's moving my decimal place over once. That would give me 4.4. But then again, I'm finding 5%, so you want to take half of 4.4, which is 2.2. So it's essentially finding 10%, but then just taking an extra step of cutting that number in half. So if I want to find 5% of 600, move your decimal place over once. Okay, that would give you 60. Half of 60 is equal to 30. Okay, finding 5% of 86, move your decimal place over once. That's 8.6. Half of 8.6 is 4.30. Okay, 5% of 15, first find 10%, move your decimal place over once, that's 1.5. Half of 1.5, or how I like to think of it, half of $1.50 is 75 cents, or 0.75. Okay, 255, so again, find 10% first. That'd give you 25.5. Half of 25.5, let's see, is 12.75. And you can do that on your calculator if you need to. And then, which I might have to do for this next one here. So 5% of 1,345, find 10% first, so move that decimal place over once. That's 134.5. And then cut that number in half. That should give me, let's see, 134.5 divided by 2 is 67.25. Okay, now what you guys can do, now that you know these 3 simple ways of finding percents by hand, you can literally find whatever percent by hand that you want, right? If I said, hey, find 20% of, let's say, $68, right? Say you're out to dinner, your meal costs a total of $68 and you want to leave a nice 20% tip. Your waiter or waitress is very good, okay? How can you break up 20% in terms of 1%, 10%, and 5%? You can simply break up 20% as 2 10%, right? 10% plus 10% is 20%. So let me see, how can I find 10% of 68? Well, Ms. Selemak, you just taught us, right? Move your decimal place over 1 spot. 10% is 6.8. So if I do 6.8 twice, 6.8 plus 6.8 or 6.8 times 2, that means my 20% tip is going to be, I think it's $13.60. Okay, if you want to take it a step further, you'd think, okay, well, what's my total bill therefore going to be? Take the original bill of 68, add the 13.6 or $13.60, and that should give you, so 68 plus 13.60, that would give you $81.60. Okay, I'm going to do a couple more with you. So let's say you want to find, let's say 17% of a number. Okay, so again, all you're trying to think right now is, well, you can't really move a decimal place however many times to find 17%, but you can break up 17% as a 10%, a 5%, and then 2 1%, right? I'm just breaking up that 17% in terms of smaller percentages that we know how to calculate by hand, right? So, okay, so I'm gonna find 17% of, let's say, $82, okay? So my 10% is easy. I'm gonna start with the 82, move it 1 decimal place. That's gonna give me 8.2. Now to find 5%, remember, half of 10% is 5%, so half of 8.2 is 4.1. Now 1% is you gotta go back to the original number, so I'm gonna go back to 82, and instead of moving your decimal place once, you have to move it 2 times. So 1, 2 would put you at 0.82, so 0.82. Another 1% is 0.82. Now again, when I add up all these percents here, that gives me 17%. So when I add up all these numbers here, let's see what we get. So 8.2 plus 4.1 plus 0.82 plus 0.82, that would give you 13.94. So you guys are gonna have a short assignment on this, okay? I'm just being able to take those percents and break them up based on 10%, 5%, and 1%, and then find the corresponding percentage there. For the assignment, guys, I need you to be showing all of your work. So you can show me kind of like how I did here in your notes, like these 2 examples. That's what I want to be seeing on your paper. If I do not see work, you're not going to be receiving full credit. Okay, so make sure you guys are showing your work for your assignment today.